All right, this is one of those resources that when dealers, OEMs, people come to me and say, Matt, how do I move the needle today? What do I do to change performance today? I go right here, every time. There's always improvement to be made. Doesn't matter how long you've been using paid search, there's always ways to improve those campaigns. Okay? You get the best high quality traffic. Keep forgetting it's over there. Let's go back to display real quick. For some people in this room, display has been something that they've been thinking about or working with for a number of years. I was talking to Alex Jefferson down here. Alex has been thinking about or engaging in some form of display maybe for 2 or 3 years. And that's great, right? But there's always an adoption curve. There's always going to be somebody out in front trying new things. The important thing at an event like this is that the information that's in Alex's head, or is up here in my head, makes it out to everybody. So I want to just demystify the spooky factor of display here. How many people have been chased around by PCG ads for the past month? Everywhere you go online. Right? There's some folks who are clearly engaging in a remarketing campaign. And the basic idea is, hey, I come to your website and then I leave. Right? But retargeting, remarketing allows you to understand what those people looked at on your website and resurface that content for them while they're out enjoying their browsing experience on another website. Okay? It's really that simple. Now, I think one hurdle that I had to jump, which I didn't expect in a conversation just a couple months ago, was that sometimes people don't get that just because you're showing up on ESPN doesn't mean you're showing up on ESPN nationally. Okay? That's a huge website, right? But the targeting capabilities of a display campaign are in line with those of a paid search campaign. You can be strategic. You can be surgical. You can decide who should see your ad and when. All of those decisions are really the art behind the science of display advertising. The science is tagging a website, serving the right content when somebody's at ESPN or some other website. Obviously, I go to ESPN. The flip side there, the art, is you knowing who your customers are, really deeply understanding your customer attributes per model. Where are those shoppers more likely to be when they leave my website? Right? It's going to be different for the Honda Odyssey shopper than it is for the Dodge Ram shopper. Follow me? All of these things are at your fingertips today. You have to have the conversation. Right? 200%. I wanted to throw a number up here, and people are often asking me for stats. Right? What are people doing? What does dealer.com see people doing? And we've been lucky enough to be working now with display and paid search for, we've been running display campaigns for about 3 years, but we didn't come to market with a product until this NADA. And what we're doing right now is trying to measure the incremental lift that we see as a result of display. Okay, I was having this conversation earlier as well. I put 200 plus or minus up there because really we're a little bit young in the measurement phase for us to be standing on some numbers, right? I wouldn't want to put something out there and then have to retract it. But what we're seeing is that when somebody doesn't engage in display or search, and you compare them to the performance of somebody who uses paid search, there's clear incremental lift in visitors, right? We could call it 50%, for some dealers it might be 70%. You're going to realize a lift in visitors almost immediately. And those are really high quality visitors, right? You targeted them. They asked to see your ad, right? And when we add display, we're seeing numbers up in this range. 200%, plus or minus, increase in visitors. And for all of you folks who really understand how your websites work, you know that something like 70% or even 80, 90, 200%, you can do the math and figure out what that means to your bottom line. You're all capable of doing that. You know roughly what your form conversion rate is. You know how many phone calls you get. You know how many of those are going to turn into appointments, shows, and sales. Okay? We are a numbers-driven business. I'm giving you a number and saying that if you're going to do yourself a favor, again, be flexible and move some of your money around and try something new this year. If it's display advertising, find a partner. Get in the game there. 1 out of nearly 5 search conversions was preceded by a display ad. I put this number out there because sometimes display gets a bit of a bad name. Is it really about form conversions? Not always. There's a lot of your brand in there. It's just like throwing out a TV ad. There's not always an expectation that we're going to sell cars from it, right? Sometimes it's just maintaining brand.